What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You guys saw the title of the video. Today we are going to be coating literally every single part to this Evo 8 motor except for the block. The block's already done. We're trying to get this whole engine bay black, and I have spent the last few days, almost the last week, doing other things, prepping all the parts, sandblasting all the parts, getting everything ready for today. So we have a ton of stuff scattered all around the shop, a bunch of stuff down here as well. I'm gonna get everything set up on the table, kind of organize it, see what parts we are going to powder coat, what parts we're gonna Cerakote. Yeah, guys, we are not messing around. So everything from the center this way is going to be powder coated. From the center to the right is going to be Cerakoted. So we are going to be doing the most technical thing I've ever done, which is a cylinder head, water pump, intake, exhaust manifold. Everything you see right here, this is all going to be Cerakoted. I am kind of worried about that cylinder head because we did not sandblast it. All the other parts you see right here have been sandblasted. So 95% of the prep work is done. I spent probably 4 to 5 hours going through cleaning up this head. I originally had it hot tanked by a professional shop and they resurfaced it as well. That's why it was leaking, by the way. They said the deck of this thing was not flat whatsoever, so we should be good to go there. But yeah, I spent a ton of time cleaning it. I think this thing is pretty much ready to be coated. I know this looks extremely overwhelming, and it kind of is looking at all these parts together. That is a lot of stuff we have to get coated. I think I'm gonna start off with the Cerakoting just because the Cerakoting does take a little bit longer. With the Cerakote we're using, which is Glacier Black C7600 supplied by Cerakote, I'll have linked down below. Guys, every single thing I'll use in this video is going to be linked down below. The Cerakote gun, powder coat gun, any masking tape, anything I use, everything will be linked down below, just to make it really simple and easy for you guys. The Cerakote we're using is an air curer, and it takes 5 full days to cure before we can run the motor. We're going to start out with Cerakote, and then when all the stuff is Cerakoted, we can move on to powder coating. So I think the first step is to kind of clean up the table, get all the stuff that we're going to powder coat out of here, just so it's not so overwhelming to look at. And then we need to run through and mask off a few things. The good thing with Cerakote is a lot of these, or any threads, any tight tolerances, you don't need to mask. I am going to obviously do some masking. Cylinder head is going to need a lot of mask work. All the stuff in here can't get Cerakoted. I'll run through and mask off a few other things as well. So what we've done for prep work so far, like I mentioned earlier, everything is sandblasted except for the cylinder head. It is just a raw aluminum, so I think we should be fine. It's not coated with anything that I'm aware of, so I think we should be good to go. So the very first thing we need to do is run through, clean up all the parts. So I'll be using degreaser, I'll be using Dawn dish soap, I'll be using water, I'll be using air from the air compressor. The goal here is just to make sure we don't have any sand left on the parts or inside the parts whatsoever. And then as soon as the parts are done being washed and rinsed off, I have my oven over here, the powder coating oven, set at 400 degrees. I'll be throwing the parts right into the oven after we are done cleaning, just to evaporate all the water. This part is going to be pretty time consuming, so let's get after it. So we got every single part cleaned up. We're gonna be coating all of the parts that we don't need to mask off first. So everything except for like the cylinder head, intake manifold, a few other little things here and there that we need to mask off, we're gonna be Cerakoting. Everything has been in the oven for a while now. We're gonna pull it all out, and as we're pulling it out, we're just gonna bring it right over there. Whatever we can fit hanging from the ladder to start, and then we're gonna have to find other places around the shop to hang other stuff to coat, maybe off those. Let's get some stuff out, get it hanging up. You don't want these parts warm when we're coating them, so we're gonna pull them out and let them cool all the way down. Probably about 30 minutes cool down time. We got all of the parts hanging up that don't need to be masked off. The only thing I kind of did some masking on was the power steering. I know there's a little bit of oil still on there, so I plugged everything off. Sit over here, check out what we're working with. Cerakote C7600 Glacier Black. This is a high temp product, so it is good for cylinder heads, exhaust manifolds, intake manifolds, This one tube right here has lasted me, let's see, I've done the intake manifold, all the hot parts to my Evo 10 turbo kit. I've done a ton of stuff, and then there's probably a little more than half left. I hope we have enough to do all these parts. If not, I'll have to order up some more. Some strainers and the HVLP touch-up spray gun. Once again, all this will be linked down below. Let's mix this stuff up. Gonna shake it up for about 5 minutes, pour it in the gun, and get to spraying. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Make sure you wear a respirator, glasses. I just throw on this 3M mask. It's a respirator and it's like a full face mask as well, so you can see good out of it and you're protected from the Cerakote. All right, we got a bit of Cerakote in the gun. Let's head over here, hook it up to the air, and get to spraying. You only want a little bit of the fluid to come out. I'll kind of show you guys as we're spraying out some parts. We just finished up coating all of these parts here. Everything turned out top notch. I'm so pumped with how this Cerakote is looking. We need to go ahead and move all the stuff off to the side so we can hang the rest of the parts and get everything else coated. In order to actually handle this stuff, like touch the coating and all that, you want to wait at least 24 hours. So let's just pick it up by the wire, move it so we don't destroy all the coating, all the hard work we just did, and we can get to coating all of the rest of the parts. This here is everything we have left. Intake manifold, throttle body, cylinder head, oil filter housing, and the oil pump, like front engine case. Same thing as before, we're gonna start off with throwing these parts in the oven, getting them all evaporated. We're not gonna be putting the head in the oven. Still has the valve seals in there, so we don't wanna be melting those. And then on this throttle body as well, there's like a little bushing right there. I didn't want to damage that bushing, so I didn't end up pulling it out. We can put this in the oven for about 2 or 3 minutes just to get all the water off. We still need to do the final cleaning on this with acetone. We already went through and scuffed it up a little bit with some red Scotch-Brite, so let's hope that the Cerakote is going to adhere to this thing just fine and we won't have any problems down the road. We should be good. We just pulled out the throttle body. Let's mask off a few things on here, get it ready for some Cerakote. All right, we got all of these parts masked off and hanging, ready to be coated. Let's go ahead, get all these parts sprayed out, and then we can move on to the scary part, which is the cylinder head. I really am kind of nervous to do this head. It's gonna be technical, but we'll figure it out. All right, we finished those parts up. Let's move on to the cylinder head. So we're gonna go through, mask everything off, wipe it down with acetone, let all the acetone evaporate, and then we can get to coating. All right guys, we got the whole head masked off. What we're gonna do right now is go through with some acetone, wipe it all down as best as we can, and then we can get to spraying. I'm gonna flip it over and spray the bottom side first, and then I have these two long bolts right here to grab from to flip it back on its side how it's sitting right now and spray the whole top side. We are all finished up with Cerakoting. The head turned out absolutely amazing. It's quite a bit easier to do than I figured. At the very last minute, I did decide to pull apart the alternator and do the alternator case and the pulley for the alternator as well. Figured I might as well do it. The only thing left that I feel like I should be doing, but I don't want to tear apart, is the AC compressor. Just that it's such a hassle, and honestly, it's at the bottom of the car. You're never gonna be able to see it when it's all together, so I'm not all that worried about it. It is now time to move on to powder coating. I did decide to change up the color for the powder that we're going to be using. The color that we did with the subframe and all those components down there was ink black. It's a very, very high gloss. And I also did this power steering mount at that same time. And when you compare this mount to something that's Cerakoted, this is way more glossy and it's not really going to match. So this is a bunch of stuff that's been chilling for about 20 hours now. And look at the gloss difference. Yeah, quite a bit different. So I do have a bag of silk satin black here I'll be using, and I think that's gonna match all of these parts, all the Cerakoted stuff, a lot better. What that means though is we're gonna have to sandblast this thing and recoat it. So over here is everything that we're gonna be powder coating, a bunch of stuff in this bucket as well. What we're gonna do is run it through the sink, degrease it, bring it over to the oven, throw it in the oven for about 15 minutes, and then get to powder coating. So we just got the first batch of parts done, and you cannot tell a difference between the colors. These two right here are powder coated, that's Cerakoted. I think it's safe to say that is a perfect match. So this is silk, satin black, and this is the Glacier Black Cerakote C7600 series. I'll have it all linked down below. If you want to match a satin black between Cerakote powder coat, those are the two to go with. All right, we just put the very final piece in the oven, which is the oil pan. We coated a total of 44 pieces today. I just went and counted everything out. 44 total pieces, Cerakote and powder coat. It's absolutely crazy. Definitely the most I've ever done in my life. And it's super nice being able to Cerakote the cylinder head as well. Turned out absolutely amazing.
Once again, guys, everything we used today, powder coat, Cerakote, the guns, everything will be linked down in the description box below. Huge shout out to Prismatic Powders and Cerakote for sponsoring this video and supplying us with the product. We are still waiting on all the gaskets and seals to come in for the motor, of course. It's currently the weekend, so I'm hoping everything will be here on Monday. As soon as all that stuff comes in, we can start assembling the motor, but in the meantime, we can still do a bunch of other stuff. We gotta put the alternator back together, power steering pump, the throttle body, the cylinder head. We have to do the cams and the lifter, so we still have a bunch of stuff to do that we can all get done tomorrow. And then as soon as Monday rolls around, we can get this thing hopefully almost back on the road. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it's a ton of coating and pretty much the same thing as we did yesterday. Just coat all freaking day long, but it had to be done. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow.